Hi, everyone. Welcome back to BreakRoom. I am beyond excited today for this interview. I am with Pauline Leung, and we had overlapped at L'Oreal a little bit, but her journey beyond L'Oreal is so impressive. Pauline went from being a marketing intern into a general manager at L'Oreal. She moved across Europe and Asia and into the United States. But after almost 2 decades, she really realized that performance isn't just about doing more. And she now has created and is a founder of her own company called Flow Grounds that we're going to get into more detail. She's a certified high performance coach. She's a yoga, a meditation teacher, and a business leader. She's so impressive. I'm so excited to dig deeper into her career journey, where she's gone and where she's going. So welcome, Pauline. Thank you so much for joining our chat today.
Thank you so much, Britt, and thank you for those sweet words.
Of course. I worked with you again, even a brief moment at L'Oreal, and every moment was just filled with you have such passion and energy in your work. So many professionals in my community love the beauty world, have a lot of questions about it. So I want to start back at the beginning. What drew you into beauty and L'Oreal? And how did you get started?
Good one. And I receive that question a lot, especially nowadays, because it's true that it's a young lady's dream to work with beauty and for beauty. And I think for me, so I never chose L'Oreal. It was given to me. But I truly feel that things happen for a reason. So I was given the project of L'Oreal when I was doing an extracurricular activity. And when you do things that is beyond your responsibility, that's when you actually show your character. And that's when I truly believe that good things come. So I was given the project L'Oreal at a young age. I think at the time I was 20 years old, 21. And I did that the best that I could. I didn't necessarily love the research that I had to do, but I loved working with three other international students and doing that project, which was to work on a launch and marketing project for, at that time, a new beauty brand in the Netherlands. So I started in the Netherlands. And for me, it was really this eye opener to work for a beauty company, but I wasn't thinking too much of it. And it wasn't until the moment that when I was doing my master's and I had to write a thesis, that I thought, what company do I actually know? And the only company I knew was L'Oreal. But because I did so well at that project, when I called them and asking for, can I write my thesis about L'Oreal, they said, okay, we are willing to give you market data, but you have to do another internship. And at that time, I already did 3 internships. So I didn't needed it, but I took it. And that's what I truly feel is that when you do your best and take the opportunity and make something more than what you need to do, you just do all the best that you have, you will be given more opportunities. So that's how I started in the beauty world. And before I finished my thesis, they offered me a full-time job. And I thought, okay, let me stay. This is still the only company I knew. So that's how I stayed. So that's how it started. It's not anything glamorous, but it's really um, a very simple way. A very simple way.
And I love what you said that it was given to me. And I feel
Mm,
like it's a lot in the energy you put out with just that proactiveness and openness and that growth mindset, which is really important, in business. I'm
absolutely.
curious of what are the biggest things you learned in that time? So you were with L'Oreal for quite some time, moved all around.
Right.
What are those high and low moments too? And when I say low, just some of the challenges, because I think so often we talk all about the great things in our career, but I also want to hear, what you learned too.
Yes, and I think for me, as I started in the Netherlands, it's a relatively small country. For any Dutch listeners or viewers, they're like, it's not that small. It is relatively small. And I really believe that working for a small country, for smaller brands, can be such a great moment to start with a scrappy mindset and to fight for your voice, fight for budgets. And I think it's very much in line with what I see with going through hardship, whether it's life and work itself. And I feel that when you overcome one hardship after the other, that's how we learn. So going back to your question, I think I have encountered so many lows, as in being a young product manager and for your makeup products actually to be removed from the Dutch market. So when I started as a young product manager, I was launching Biotherm. It's not a brand in the US, but it's a really big brand in Europe. So I launched Biotherm makeup, but at the end of my 16-month stint being a product manager, I had to pull it out from the market. And as a young girl, like 25 years old, doing that, I felt that I was a failure. So I would say that was one of the lows, but the other lows, and this is not to say that it's right, it's absolutely not, but I've had the word toxic, it's almost not even the right word, but they were really, really difficult. And this is also not towards L'Oreal because more than 70% of employees have had a toxic boss. It's just in general, they exist. And for sure in my career as well. So going through this toxic environment and having a manager who goes behind your back and tell the divisional general manager, Pauline is nothing more than an assistant and she will be never more than a marketing assistant. And hearing that, it's just one of the hardest things that you can hear, especially if you give so much of yourself and being already a little bit insecure. I'm someone who really at a young age was very insecure, had a lot of anxiety attacks. I was someone who was an introvert as well, still am a bit, but especially during the early years of my career, growing up in a Chinese household in a Dutch loud society. I was an insecure little girl. And to hear from your own boss that you would never be more than that, it's I would say a very low.
How did you navigate that? Because to me, in whatever part of your career you're in, whether you are starting off or further along, having a manager that doesn't believe in you can be crippling.
Right.
So how did you get beyond that?
I think the first few days, I cried a lot. I cried in the bathroom. I cried on my commute back home. But after a few days, I also realized, and luckily I journaled a lot. So I went through my journaling entries where I wrote down things that I've done at work, things that I was so proud of, results that I've achieved. And I also realized that she can have that opinion. But what if I created my next step on my own? And that's exactly what I did. Bypassed her. I didn't ask her in my next review for a promotion. I emailed a marketing manager from another brand. I knew there was an open position. I just emailed her, didn't know her, sent her an email saying, I just saw the invitation letter and it will be great to have a coffee with you, which I did. And she hired me. And that's how things can move. So in the end, I did not let that define me. And I thought, let me just create that for myself because I know factually that I have achieved successes. And I was just reading through my journal to find proof, to prove myself that I am worthy and I can do it.
Yeah, what an amazing, actionable response to someone putting you down. And it also prolonged your career at an
Mm,
amazing company. So thank you for sharing that. It's very tough for a lot of professionals to navigate something like that. And you ended up going on to create an amazing career of multiple decades across
mm.
multiple countries and becoming a GM, which is, most marketers' dream. I'm so curious then. You built up this amazing career. What happened to start the process of thinking about leaving that?
Right. I think for me, because I left after being a general manager for 3 years and I became a general manager at the age of 30, which is relatively young.
Yes.
But it was never my dream to be a GM. So I became a general manager not wanting to be one. I became one because I thought I want to be the best marketeer in the world. But in order to be better in marketing, you have to build better relationships. You have to influence the sales teams. You have to charm the retailers. And I just tried to do that the best that I could as head of marketing and in Hong Kong at that time. And because of doing that so well was that my goal was to be head of marketing, and I reached that already. And I thought, let me go to a bigger country and do another head of marketing role. And that was really my dream. So when I was in a general manager position, I didn't think I am in my dream role. I just thought, okay, this is not what I wanted, but I've been given this opportunity. And to also do that, I also realized that because it was not something that I wanted, Vietnam, so that was the country I worked in, was not a country that was even on my top 50 list of countries I wanted to live in. I also realized that sometimes you do things for external validation. And before I went to Vietnam, I always did things for me. I
Yeah.
wanted to grow. I wanted to move to Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong, did amazing things. So when I went to Vietnam, I did that to make my parents proud. I did that because it looked great on my resume. And who can say that you are in your early 30s and being a divisional GM? So I did it for all the wrong reasons. And I also felt very lonely in a country.
Yeah.
I felt very, I would say, not ready, but it was not being ready and not feeling ready all at the same time. So when I left, and it was never about the role itself, I think it was the most rewarding role, but I left because of this decade long of prioritizing work over life. I
Mhm.
sacrificed my personal life, my health, physically and mentally, in order to be successful at work.
Mhm.
And when you are successful, but you don't feel successful, that's where the biggest frustration is. So from the outside, everyone thought that I made it. I had a private driver. I had a apartment big enough for 4 children. And there I was living alone in this beautiful apartment. So I felt so unsuccessful. I felt so unhappy. And just like success isn't created overnight, being miserable in life isn't created overnight either. It was a decade long of sacrificing your actual life over work. So that's why I left. I just felt that if I didn't do it now, I will never find out who I am because I lost myself in it. Who am I as a woman? What was my dream? For sure, it wasn't living in an apartment all by yourself and coming home after a long work trip and to just sit on a couch and look around in a beautiful apartment and you're just sitting there, no one to
Yeah.
talk to. So it's really something that is created day in, day out, year after year. And that's why I left.
What you said about the isolation, I know can creep up for a lot of high achievers, that they're
Mm,
so focused on that one identity,
you're right.
my career title, my career, and then the rest of their life can feel lonely. Tell me a little bit more then. After you left, you were on this journey, became yoga certified, meditation, and got really into mental health and yoga. I want to hear more about that journey for those few years.
Yes, of course. So I left L'Oreal and they were so amazing, offered me a sabbatical, which I didn't take. I really wanted to have the freedom to explore and understand who I am. And I truly felt that that's the foundation. I was so unhealthy at that time. I think it was already my 6th or 7th year that I had certain viruses in my body that I just couldn't get rid of. And I just felt like I have to take care of myself now. I just felt exhausted as well. So I went into this journey and being a student again. And for nearly 2 years, every single day, my goal was to study, to learn, to heal myself, and not necessarily thinking about coaching and teaching is what my new occupation will be. I was learning who I needed to be. And I was on the side because my second year when I got certified, I was coaching clients. But I was coaching all the topics that I needed to practice in. And I truly feel that the more impactful we can be as a coach are all the topics that resonate with ourselves. Because if not, you will never continue learning. You will never be able to share stories and for them to resonate with other people. Because in the end, whether it's marketing, corporate world, being a coach, it's all about resonating with your customer, your client, people you help. So for me, it was really diving into the coaching, diving into the theories, the science, the practices, and being better and walking the talk myself. So that's how it all started. And to also continuously check in with yourself. Am I happy?
Hmm.
What can I do tomorrow to be even happier? What am I happy about today? And what can be even better? So to be grateful for what you have, but to also know tomorrow is a new day, very exciting, really, really precious. So what is it that we can do tomorrow? And that's when I also realized that I never left L'Oreal because I did not like it. I didn't like me.
Yeah.
So, in that journey of self healing was also the moment that I realized I love my job at L'Oreal. And if not, I would have never gone back a second time round and
Uh-huh.
worked another 9 years for the company if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And that's when I returned. I was in New York already. And for me, that's why it was a more holistic choice. I wanted to be in New York. I was already in New York. I wanted to stay in New York. I wanted to build now and curate my life myself, not being asked to go to Vietnam. But this time it's like, okay, now this time I choose. So I
Hmm.
chose New York. I chose the job that I wanted to do. And this time it was more deliberate and getting the choices because you've done your best the previous round.
You've done the work. And
You've done the work.
I love that you stopped for some time and really asked yourself questions that we often run away from.
Mm,
Very tough to ask those things. What makes me happy? Who am I? And I think a lot of professionals set that aside because they also sometimes just need a job. How can someone in their career find that balance if they're not able to always pause for some time and ask those questions? But how do they start to work in more of that meaning and ability to get a better foundation of who they are?
I love that one because when you think about purpose or to do meaningful work, it's not about giving up what you do right now and find meaningful work. Working in another company, working in another industry, working for a nonprofit. And those are all great options. But at the same time, meaning is found where you are right now in the role that you currently have and what you currently do. So, what is just really, really important is that whatever job you have and you actually say, I don't find my job meaningful, it's not true. It just simply is not true. If your job wasn't meaningful, the company will never pay you to do that job. Every single job has a meaning, and you have to find that meaning because whatever we do, it is a brick of a castle, might not be our own because it's not our own company, but we are laying the bricks and it's our own responsibility. And of course, that of your manager, but it's your own responsibility to say, how am I carrying the brick and laying that and building the castle and contributing to that castle. So whatever job that you currently do, it's to reflect, and you were rightfully saying they might not have time, but you have to make time. You have to make time to say, who am I helping today? What am I doing today that will help move the project or anything that you're working on? What will it contribute to? So you have to connect those dots yourself. Children cannot do that, but adults can. That's our responsibility. So when you take that responsibility to do that reflection, your job will always be purposeful because you will always help something or someone.
I literally have chills and like teared up in a way, seriously, a little tear, just what you said, the two things of the brick and then connecting the dots. Because a lot of us kind of do a scan of it's not meaningful in this moment, but what you're saying is take a moment to look around and see the impact that you're making and connecting. And that really can be so powerful for a lot of professionals. I love so much of what you're saying, Pauline. I want to go a little into now what you're doing and how that then is impacting a lot of leaders that you work with. So right now you are a high achieving coach, you lead retreats, you're a founder, you also do coaching, I know, with her workplace. You're doing so many things. I want to hear a little bit about the work you do in the sense of what I read something that you wrote and it said in your LinkedIn, you said, I believe performance without presence is empty. So I want to hear what advice you have for those high achievers you work with, those leaders, because they are listening. That's a lot of who I work with and who I talk with. And I'm curious of what are the themes you're seeing of the people that you work with that are high achieving?
I would love to talk about that because I truly believe that everyone who is successful from the outside is a high achiever. Because you want to achieve, you want to arrive into a certain destination. You want to achieve something tangible, a promotion, a salary raise, recognition, results. But the difference between high achiever and a high performer is that when you are a high performer, you think about the journey. And the reason why I say that when you are achieving and you do that without presence, the reason why it's empty is that words, they don't mean too much. They mean something in the moment, but it doesn't stick. That's why whether it's as a professional or founder or just as a human being, we can read books, we can watch one YouTube after another, but what resonate with us is when we do certain things. It's when we truly put our heart into something. So when you constantly achieve and you just think about, I have to do this because I want to arrive somewhere, versus I'm putting my present moment energy into what I do right now, that is just such a different feeling. So, especially when we work with our teams or even with one person, whether it's a client, and I know, Britt, the work that you do and the reason why we connected so much, like it was not just your goal, but to do it with so much passion, to have this amazing candidate and to match this candidate with the role of what the hiring manager had and to just find the best matches. And the reason why we connected so much is that we both put so much of our energy in it that if it wasn't that right candidate, but we connected so much, is we would find another role for this amazing person. So doing things with all your energy and with all your mindfulness, and mindfulness is not just your focus, it is for a large way, but mindfulness and presence is also your kindness, our level of being of service, not for us, because that's the high achieving mode. High performance mode is that we are doing things for the bigger collective, which is the company, because they will have the best candidate. It's for the candidate itself because they will have the dream job. And when we do that with that present moment energy and all that kindness and that level of service, we will always succeed. Maybe not the quickest way, but it will be the most sustained way. So that's what I meant with that it's empty if we are not putting the present moment in it.
It's really about that bigger purpose and connection. That's what I always say as a recruiter at heart. I don't just place people. I think about that holistic approach and doing that in any role, whether you're finance, supply chain, engineering, there's that greater connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Could literally talk to you for hours. What is the best way for people to follow you? I know you also you coach, you do retreats. Where do people go to find you and connect with you?
So it's either on my website, so it's Pauline Leung.com. LinkedIn, you type in Pauline Leung, high performance coach, I will pop right up there. And then Instagram, so that's Pauline Leung underscore CHPC, as in certified high performance coach. So you can find me and send a DM, send an email, and I would love to connect with the listeners.
Pauline, you again are beyond such an authentic, amazing soul. And I'm so grateful you've joined us for this time. I want to always stay connected with you and learn from you. Thank you so much for this time. And I'm really excited to follow your journey ahead because it's only going to be more amazing. So thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you, Britt. It was my pleasure.